Quick, what do Penny's and Taylor Swift's career have in common? Donald Trump ended them both last night. What's up? This is Mark Kaye Saves the Republic, our post-Super Bowl special. Kidding. I'm not going to do anything. There's nothing special about the Super Bowl. It was I'll tell you what, the game was exciting and then it wasn't exciting. I went to bed early. When they put in a backup quarterback in the fourth quarter, you know that wasn't worth your time watching. But it was a very interesting Super Bowl for a couple of other reasons. It was interesting because Donald Trump was there and he made history. And Donald Trump not only made history by being the first sitting president to attend a Super Bowl in 59 Super Bowls. That's almost 60 Super Bowls. 59 Super Bowls. The sitting president has never once made an appearance, has never once gone to watch the game. Past presidents have gone to watch the game. I guess future presidents, I guess you could say, have gone to see the games, but never has a sitting president gone to see the game. And Donald Trump said, you know what? I'm the outlier here. I do things a little bit differently, so I'm going to go see the Super Bowl. I'm going to go support the teams. I'm going to go support the people in Louisiana, New Orleans, who were just the victims of a brutal attack on New Year's Eve. And I'm going to show everybody, you know what? I'm going to show everybody who's boss. I'm going to show everybody just how well-loved your president is. And man, I'll tell you what, everybody loves President Donald Trump. In fact, it wasn't just the Super Bowl yesterday. It wasn't just his appearance at the Super Bowl, but President Donald Trump got amazing poll numbers that even CNN and CBS had to report. I mean, they had to report on him because it's news, but I'm sure they were not too happy. CBS facing now a $20 billion lawsuit from Donald Trump. And they had to report that Donald Trump is way more popular than pretty much anybody ever expected. He's more popular, by the way, than Donald Trump has ever been before. I mean, think about that. As his second administration, as his second term continues every single day, he's doing exactly what he promised. People appreciate that. And even Democrats are saying, you know what? Like him, hate him, whatever. The guy's doing what he said he would. And that accounts for something. That, in fact, the CBS poll, where is it? Here we go. This was Margaret Brennan. Yes, that Margaret Brennan, the I don't really care Margaret Brennan. And she continues to have, I don't know when she's going to call it quits, because if she's not getting browbeat by J.D. Vance, if she's not being made to look like a fool by the Vice President of the United States of America on her own television show, then she's forced to report on how amazing Donald Trump is and how most of the country thinks he's super popular.
Our CBS poll finds that a majority of Americans, 53%, approve of the job he's doing. That's a better approval number than he ever reached during his first term in the White House.
Now imagine that. During his first term in the White House, you may remember there was an impeachment. Then there was another impeachment. Then there were 4 years of lawsuits, civil lawsuits, criminal lawsuits, investigations, a raid on Mar-a-Lago, the FBI weaponized against him. Then there was the DOJ investigation into pretty much every aspect of his life, 91 separate indictments. There was a mugshot taken in Georgia. Then there were court cases galore about fraud and about E. Jean Carroll and about Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg? No, the Stormy Daniels. Sorry, I get those. They both sound like made up names. So, which they are. That's why I get them confused. But then came the quote unquote conviction, followed by Donald Trump's historic campaign. And now Donald Trump, after all of that stuff that they decided was going to bury Donald Trump, end his political career, stop him from ever advancing back to the White House, after all that stuff, he's actually, guess what? More popular than ever before.
He is doing, in the eyes of the public, what he said he would do in the campaign. There's political value in that.
Whoa, look at that. Imagine that. A presidential candidate says, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, and E. He becomes president and then goes, look, I'm doing A, B, C, D, and E. And all of a sudden the country goes, wow, that's great. And CBS is admitting, there's political capital in that. You think? You think that's what Americans wanted all along? You think that's all the voters wanted? Somebody that they elected to do what they promised to do when they were running? Is that all it took? There's political capital in politicians not lying to their electorate. There's political capital in politicians keeping their promises. Oh, this could change the game forever. Maybe more politicians will do what they say. Maybe more politicians will lean into the promises they made and actually keep, promises made, promises kept. It's 4 simple words. It's actually 3 words because promises is used twice. 3 very simple words to remember that these people all seem to have trouble remembering.
70% of people say he's doing what he promised. That's whether they approve of him or not. Now, there's another part of this that continues over from the campaign. There were words that He was described as being tough, being energetic, and he still is today in big majority numbers.
Look at that. Tough, 69%. Energetic, 63%. Look at this. Is amazing. Then look at this. Then you've got focused, 60%. You've got effective, 58%. This is a large majority of the population in the United States of America saying Donald Trump is tough, energetic, focused, and effective. I mean, what more? I mean, what more is there? What more? Tough, energetic, focused, and effective? What more could you want in a president of the United States? It's actually the exact opposite of what we had for 4 years. And it's not just that. Look at CNN, Harry Etten had to come back with his poll numbers and say, look, Donald Trump is winning.
You know, I think one of the things that's so important for politicians is for folks to believe what they're saying and that they're keeping their campaign promises. So I think this gives you a pretty gosh darn good idea of what may be going on. Trump's doing what he promised to do. You go back to April of 2017, it was just 46% of all Americans who said that Trump was doing what he promised to do. Compare that now to February of 2025. You know, there was a good show that was on during the 1990s called A Different World. That is what's going on right now. We're living in a different world. 70% of Americans say Trump is doing what he promised to do. Again, compare that to April of 2017 when it's just 46%. When Americans are 24 points more likely to say that you're doing what you promised to do, it's no wonder that your net approval rating is much more likely to be on the positive side of the ledger than on the negative side. And so far, what we're seeing, again, is Americans, 21 days so far versus just 11 days during his entire first term, that Trump has a positive net approval rating. Quite a different world.
Are we really saying A Different World was a great TV? Was it really? Was A Different World all that good? I mean, it was a spinoff from The Cosby Show, and I don't know, it was all right, I guess. I would just say it was all right. But yeah, but he's right. 70% of Americans, a lot of that Democrats. Think about this. Democrats are saying, you know what? We didn't like Donald Trump. We didn't vote for Donald Trump. We don't appreciate Donald Trump. We don't agree with Donald Trump. But you know what he's doing? He's doing exactly what he said he would do. He's shutting down the border. He's talking tough to our allies. He's making sure that we're not getting taken advantage of when it comes to trade. Lopsided trade. He's cutting taxes, or at least trying to. He's making sure that these illegal immigrants are being shipped out of the country left, right, and center. He's taking care of everybody who's been devastated by some kind of wildfire or hurricane or mudslide or what have you. Oh, yeah. And he's also rooting out all that government waste that he claimed he would root out. 70% of Americans are saying Donald Trump is doing exactly what he said he was going to do. And he's strong and he's effective and he's focused. He's resolute. He's all those great things. And that is why he's experiencing the best poll numbers that he's ever experienced. And that is why yesterday at the Super Bowl, when Donald Trump showed up, not only were people at the Super Bowl like, oh my God, it's Donald Trump. Not only were they thrilled to see him, Chris Jones from the Kansas City Chiefs, who's one of the defensive stars of the program, jumped up off of his chair, ran out to the midfield to meet Donald Trump and shake his hand. Fun fact, it was the fastest he ran all night. But that's another story. And Donald Trump, when he was shown on the Jumbotron during the what's that song about our country? The national anthem. Thank you. During the national anthem, Donald Trump was with Ivanka. He was in his box. He was saluting the troops, and the Jumbotron cut to Donald Trump while Jean Baptiste was singing, and the place just exploded with a roar of appreciation, the likes of which I haven't heard, I don't think, forever.
That would be history already in the...
Wait, that's not it. Hang on here. This is historic too.
That would be history already in the building tonight, as President Donald Trump becomes the first sitting U.S. president ever to attend a Super Bowl game live.
Okay, now here is the roar of the crowd when they showed Donald Trump on the Jumbotron.
For the ramparts we watch.
I mean, that is it's truly incredible. People got excited for the game. They got excited for the flag, but they were really excited for the president of the United States.
For the ramparts we
it might have been Ivanka too, but I think it was Donald Trump. Now on the flip side of that, on the flip side of that, Taylor Swift, one of Donald Trump's arch nemesis and BFF to, I guess you would say girlfriend to Travis Kelce, who had a horrible game. You know what? They say that this was the worst game that Patrick Mahomes played, but I don't think any of them played really well on the Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce only had a couple grabs. He didn't run. He didn't look like he was running he looked really slow, kind of like he was just over the whole thing. Who's the guy that wanted to win a Super Bowl, but now hasn't because he got traded to the Chiefs? The guy, the other guy. None of them. They were dropping passes. There were a couple of them that did okay. Worthy did okay. But for the most part, the Kansas City Chiefs were a mess. And Taylor Swift, who's famous for dating Travis Kelce and appearing at the games and sitting in the box and cheering and screaming and making a fool of herself whenever her man did something, had really no reason to cheer yesterday. And as a matter of fact, when the crowd was shown Taylor Swift's image on the Jumbotron, they had the exact opposite reaction that they had to President Donald Trump. They booed, but like the loudest boo you've ever heard in your entire life. I mean, that is just, and Taylor Swift herself is even like, you can see her, she mouths what is going on. If you're watching the thing, there's booing, and they show Taylor, and she realizes they're booing her, and she looks around, and she's like, what is going on? Yeah, there it is. What is going? She doesn't even realize. She's like, this has never happened to me before. Usually everybody loves me. Usually everyone's like, oh my God, it's Taylor Swift. Oh my God, yay. The New York Post, I think, they had the end of an era's, which I thought that made me laugh. That was kind of funny. The headlines write themselves. End of an era as Taylor can't shake it off as Eagles destroy Chiefs. And some people say maybe she jinxed it. Maybe she was I don't think she jinxed it. I think they just played crappy. But end of an era is truly a remarkable way to put it. Donald Trump also, because look, Taylor Swift is not just a singer. She's a political operative. Taylor Swift has dabbled in politics. She made Biden-Harris cookies back in 2020. This past year, she had a voter registration campaign for the young girls at her Eras tour, and she actively campaigned against Donald Trump. She's actively campaigned against Marsha Blackburn in Tennessee. She's a political entity now. And by being a political entity, by openly campaigning for one side or the other, you open yourself up for attacks you open yourself up to attacks from the other side. Thank you. That took me a minute. To get out. But that's exactly what happened. Donald Trump said, look, she's not just a singer. She's the enemy. And so he took to Truth Social to say, the only one that had a tougher night than the Kansas City Chiefs was Taylor Swift. She got booed out of the stadium. MAGA is very unforgiving. And, it's true. MAGA is unforgiving. That's true, because MAGA understands, look, you got to know who your friends are. You got to know who your enemies are. And if you're not my friend, you're my enemy. If you're actively working against me or campaigning against me, if I'm trying to make America great again, if I'm trying to put America first, if I'm trying to return us to the new golden age, if I'm supporting somebody who I think is going to make America strong and safe and rich and great and get rid of the criminal elements and send them back to Venezuela and El Salvador and everywhere else that they came from in the first place. If he's trying to make sure that our economy's bolstered and our taxes are cut down and that our allies aren't taking advantage of us, if he's going to strengthen our military and root out all this DEI, hooey, if he's going to save money and shut down the government waste, then yeah, I'm all for that. And if you're campaigning against him, you're against me and you're against the United States of America. So, right, MAGA is very unforgiving, and that is why Taylor Swift got this reaction yesterday. What is going on? What is going on indeed? It was exciting to see. It was fun to watch, and it's something that I think really bolsters what we're seeing with this poll. I don't even think 53% is enough. I think Donald Trump's probably at about a 60% approval rating, but you've still got the plus or minus. You've still got the people that just don't like admitting that they're big fans of Donald Trump. They just don't like admitting that they're fans of Donald Trump, no matter how great the things he's doing are. I mean, Donald Trump is doing, I have a whole list here. We're going to roll through this whole list today. We've got so much stuff we've got to talk about. We're going to roll through this whole list here, but there's the Treasury Department. Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Doge, they are doing so many things at the Treasury Department to try to make America great again that a judge in New York basically put his entire career on the line by unconstitutionally shutting down Donald Trump's effort to make the Treasury great again. We've got, what else do we have? Oh, in North Carolina, Sean Duffy's in North Carolina trying to fix the roadways, which have been devastated by a hurricane for months now. What else we got? Oh, in Gaza, Donald Trump still pushing a plan to take over Gaza so he could bring peace to the Middle East. Doge is just off the chain. Pam Bondi is going after leakers in the FBI. Donald Trump wants the Canadians to still be the 51st state. In fact, yesterday, Donald Trump did he did an interview with Brett Baer from Fox News. They taped it Saturday in Mar-a-Lago. And then I guess they aired it yesterday before the Super Bowl. And Brett Baer, in opening up the interview or asking the first question, basically just went through a litany of all these amazing things that Donald Trump has done so far. And it sounded less like an interview and it sounded like he was being introduced to receive some kind of lifetime achievement award for being the greatest president ever. And again, it's only been 3 weeks.
There's a long list of things you've already got done in 3 weeks. Big border policy changes, ICE crackdowns on criminals, taking biological men out of women and girls sports, big energy policy changes. So what's different with you and your administration? The difference between the 45th president and the 47th president?
Well, with the 45th, I had tremendous opposition, but I didn't know people, and I didn't have the kind of support that I needed. I put people in office, some really great ones, but I had some that I wouldn't have put. I would have, known better if it were a couple of years later, or if I had a little more experience in D.C. I was a New York person, not a D.C. person. And I had a lot of opposition. I just noticed, I looked on the stage for the recent inauguration, and I'm looking, it's like a who's who of Washington. Well, if you look on the stage for the first one, it was just the opposite. So,
yeah, now he's like, look, I got people around me who are not Washington insiders, but who I can trust. People around me who I know are going to do the work that I want them to do, and they're not going to give me any guff. People around me who I know are just as hardworking as I am, who are just as hell-bent on saving America, who are going to be up every single day for the rest of the next 4 years, doing what needs to be done to make sure that this country is running the way that it should be running. And one of them is, of course, Elon Musk, who's not an elected official, as everyone on Twitter will be happy to tell you, as every Democrat that you see, every purple-haired protester will stand proudly outside the Capitol building or the former headquarters of the USAID, and they will be the first to tell you Elon Musk was not elected. Nobody elected Elon Musk. That's true. But there were only two people in this entire administration who were elected. One was Donald Trump. One was J.D. Vance. Otherwise, nobody was elected. Nobody else was elected. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance were the only two that were elected. Everybody else, they're there because Donald Trump hired them. And Donald Trump said, hey, we want you to fix everything. And Stephen Miller, who's deputy chief of staff at the White House, he said it best. He goes, look, this is how it works. And nobody should get in the way, especially not a judge in the New York State Court who doesn't like Donald Trump doing exactly what Donald Trump was hired to do by the American people.
A couple of court losses, Mr. President, and J.D. Vance.
Wait, that's not it. Hang on, here it is right here. There we go.
A radical left judge said that the Secretary of the Treasury cannot access the Treasury computer system. This isn't just unconstitutional. That ruling is an assault on the very idea of democracy itself. What we continue to see here is the idea that rogue bureaucrats who are elected by no one, who answer to no one, who have lifetime tenure jobs, who we would be told can never be fired, which of course is not true, that the power has been cemented and accumulated for years, whether it be with the Treasury bureaucrats or the FBI bureaucrats or the CIA bureaucrats or the USAID bureaucrats, with this unelected shadow force that is running our government and running our country. Donald Trump is engaging in the most important restoration of democracy in over a century by saying that we are going to restore power to the people through their elected president and his appointed officers. That is the only way we can have true democracy in this country. You elect a president. He appoints a staff. The staff transparently carries out his orders on behalf of the whole nation. But this nonsense, where we have rogue, unelected, unaccountable, and previously unfireable bureaucrats who do whatever the hell they want, with no one telling them and no one controlling them, we're not going to let that happen anymore. We're going to have a democracy, and we're going to have an executive branch that serves the American people, that answers to the American people, and that answers the will of the American voter.
And the USAID is not an organization that answers the people, answers the will of the American voter. The USAID was, well, basically a slush fund for all of these people. In fact, that's what Stephen Miller said. He goes, it was basically a slush fund.
The USAID was a slush fund, first of all, for left-wing projects around the globe, like gender surgeries around the world, diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, crazy Green New Deal climate scams, and every other lunatic left-wing project that is bankrupting this country. But even beyond that, it was funding an army of left-wing activists, these NGOs, non-governmental organizations, NGOs. They get billions and billions of dollars, and they use that money to then infiltrate corporate America, to then infiltrate the public sector, to then resettle, for example, at taxpayer expense, millions of illegal aliens into this country, to drive racist equity policies, to drive radical left gender policies. And so what we've learned is that the left's, this mammoth left-wing power structure, plus left-wing media, wasn't organic. It wasn't created naturally. It was funded by taxpayer dollars. And that is why they are screaming and screeching so loud now, is because President Trump is cutting off the slush fund to the organizations that hate and hurt America.
And that's basically why they're so angry. That's why everybody is so angry. That's why Chris Murphy, these Democrats, first of all, they keep throwing around this word constitutional crisis. And that always makes me laugh, because I know there's not a single Democrat out there who's ever read the Constitution cover to cover, paragraph by, and I don't think they even own a copy. I mean, it's right there in the National Archives. They could walk right down the street. I'm pretty sure they all get access, but I don't think there's a Democrat serving today in the Congress or in the Senate who has read the Constitution, is a constitutional expert, scholar, or even, like I said, owner of a copy. But Chris Murphy from, Connecticut? He's screaming and yelling about how Donald Trump is creating a constitutional crisis, and none of what he's doing is legal, which is 100% inaccurate.
Listen, I think this is the most serious constitutional crisis the country has faced, certainly since Watergate. The president is attempting to seize control of power and for corrupt purposes.
Okay, first of all, let's stop there. First of all, the largest constitutional crisis since Watergate. They always love, ever since Watergate, everything's Watergate. But he's saying that Donald Trump is trying to seize power. Donald Trump's not seizing power. He was given power. He was given power by the voters, by over 76 million voters. They all went to the ballot box, or they voted early, or they voted by mail, or whatever. And they said, hey, we give power to this guy over here. This cackling weird woman who we can't understand a damn word she says, we don't want to give her the power. She's been in power for a while. She didn't do anything. Her boss is kind of a weirdo. We're giving the power to this guy. He's had the power before. We kind of liked what he did with it. We'd like to see what he could do with the power for 4 more years. Plus, he's saying some really great stuff that we really appreciate and kind of resonates with us, and stuff that we'd be all about. So let's give him the power. Donald Trump didn't seize power from anyone. He was given power by the American people. An electoral victory gave Donald Trump the power. A victory of popular vote. I mean, Kamala Harris didn't even beat Joe Biden's numbers from 2020 in a single county in this country. Donald Trump didn't seize power. It was handed to him. Donald Trump won every single swing state. Wisconsin, check. Pennsylvania, check. Michigan, yes. Nevada, Georgia, Arizona, I mean, every single one of those states went to Donald Trump, and that handed him the presidency. That's why he's back in office. It's not seizing power.
The president wants to be able to decide how and where money is spent so that he can reward his political friends. He can punish his political enemies. That is the evisceration of democracy.
That is actually the way Donald Trump's doing, that's actually the definition of democracy. He's rewarding his friends being the American people. He's punishing his adversaries, the adversaries being, well, the Democrat Party in this case, but anybody who's taking advantage of the American people. I'll agree with him there. Donald Trump is rewarding his allies, the voters who said, yes, please save us from waste, from graft, from greed, from corruption. Yes, please save us from the criminal element who's raiding the coffers of the government and stealing our tax dollars via these USAID programs and these other BS, I don't know, these BS agencies that don't do anything. Save us from these people that are basically just they're con artists. And they're in they're in the USAID. They're also in the education department. They're everywhere. Mike Waltz, who is the national security advisor, was on Meet the Press, and he was talking about the DOD and how, the DOD needs to be doged.
Elon is the head of the Department of Government Efficiency, and if there is any agency what I have a ton of experience with in the Department of Defense with an $800 billion plus budget, it's DOD. Everything there seems to cost too much, take too long, and deliver too little to the soldiers. I, as a member of the House Armed Services Committee, held up a bag of bolts that would cost $100 in a hardware store that cost $90,000 to the United States Air Force. And the American people have said enough, enough with the bloat and the waste and the debt. And when we have $1 trillion of interest in our debt that's exceeded our entire defense budget, we do need great minds and we do need business leaders to go in there and absolutely reform the Pentagon's acquisition process.
Okay, so, but says Welker. Kristen Welker's trying to get a word in edgewise. Look, if you sold the United States military a bag of bolts for $90,000 that you could get for $100 at the drugstore or the hardware store, rather, you're a bad person. And I get it. You're like, well, they were willing to pay it. Okay, sure. Well, they're bad people too. But somewhere along the lines, it seems like you're maybe in cahoots with somebody in the Department of Defense. Somewhere along, if you're like, hey, this bag of bolts costs $90,000 and somebody in the government cuts you a check, I have to imagine that that's going to be a mutually beneficial agreement, if you get my meaning. I don't imagine that you're going to be keeping all 90. Somehow that money is going to get back into their hands, whether it's through a campaign donation or whatnot. And that's something that Doge, of course, will get to the bottom of. But you're a bad person and you need to be dealt with. And the DOD 100% being the largest of our government, I guess you would say, agencies, being the largest department that we have, being the most expensive department, and of course, one of the most crucial. It should be in every American's best interest for the DOD to go through a doging. If you want anything, if you want less corruption, less greed, less grift, less waste in any department, I mean, think about this. Instead of $90,000 on a bag of bolts, let's spend $100 on a bag of bolts, and let's spend $89,900 on, I don't know, training fighter pilots or making better drones. I mean, come on, I imagine there's something else that $89,900 could probably go a really long way. And if you don't need that $89,900 for something that benefits our military, then, give it back to the government and we'll just pay down the debt. This is exactly what Doge is doing. And they're going. Donald Trump said, look, they're going after everybody. I don't know if I ever got to this Fox clip. I got on a tangent, but listen to this. This was Donald Trump talking about the Treasury and Doge and what's coming next.
Early Saturday, a judge agreed with them to restrict Elon Musk and his government efficiency team, Doge, from accessing Treasury Department payment and data systems. They said there was a risk of irreparable harm. What do you make of that? And does that slow you down on what you want to do?
No, I disagree with it 100%. I think it's crazy. And we have to solve the efficiency problem. We have to solve the fraud, waste, abuse, all the things that have gone in the government. You take a look at the USAID, the kind of fraud in there,
and you found significant things.
Well, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of money that's going to places where it shouldn't be going, where if I read a list, you'd say this is ridiculous, and you've read the same lists, and there are many that you haven't even seen. It's crazy. It's a big scam. Now, there's some good money, and we can do that through any one of a number. I think I'd rather give it to Marco Rubio over at the State Department. Let him take care of the few good ones. So I don't know if it's kickbacks or what's going on, but the people, look, I ran on this, and the people want me to find it. And I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Bottom line, you say you trust him.
Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse. But I can't.
And waste and all that other stuff. And I trust Elon. He's not gaining anything. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. He's got more money than anyone else. He's got successful companies. He doesn't need anything. He doesn't need anything from anybody. He's doing this because he wants to. He understands how important it is to have an efficient running government. He understands how important it is to America's vitality and its future and its survival to make sure that we cut out this waste. And he thinks that bad people should be brought to justice. It's the people that aren't the richest people in the world. It's the people that aren't the richest people in the world who have been bilking the American taxpayer, who've been stealing money from Americans. Those are the people who are angry. If you're like a multimillionaire, but you still need money to survive because you've built up this lifestyle like Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders or one of these other clowns. If you're one of those people and you're like, yeah, we can't shut down the USAID because I'm nowhere near as rich as Elon Musk, you could shut down the entire government. The guy would be eating fine for the rest of his life. But other people can't. That's why they're lashing out. That's why Ilhan Omar is calling this a constitutional crisis as well.
Yeah, I mean, what we are witnessing is a constitutional crisis. We are seeing an executive branch that has decided that they are no longer going to abide by the Constitution in honoring Congress's role in the creation of the agencies, in their role in deciding where money is allocated.
By the way, this is a woman who wouldn't know a constitutional crisis if it hit her in the turtleneck that she's apparently wearing. This is the I guess you would say battle cry of the criminal element in the United States of America. Look, if it were anybody else coming in and saying this is wasteful, this is wasteful, this is wasteful, you might have a shot. But Donald Trump was smart because Elon Musk is not looking for financial reward. People are like, oh, Elon Musk is going to get government contracts. Elon Musk has government contracts. Elon Musk will continue to get government contracts because Elon Musk does better with his government contracts than anyone else. Do you know why? Do you know why SpaceX is far beyond Virgin Galactic or Blue Origin? Do you know why? It's because Elon Musk does with his company exactly what he's doing with the government. He cuts out waste. He makes sure he hires the best people. He cuts out people that don't do anything. And he makes sure that efficiency is number one. That way, he can take his money and use it to make the company better instead of wasting it on stupid stuff that doesn't do anyone any good. And think about how great this country is going to be when he's done. And Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump's Secretary of Defense, is all about it. He's saying, look, even without Doge, we know that there's government waste. Even without Doge, we know that there's stuff we need to take care of, and we will take care of it. And if Doge comes in and finds more, that's better for everybody. It's better for you. It's better for me. It's better for the people we're fighting or who are fighting with us. And it's better for the security of the United States.
The president is right. He's setting the pace. And he is also correct that American taxpayers deserve to know exactly how and where their money is spent. The fact that I have to commit, Maria, to an audit being done in 4 years is bad enough. The Pentagon should be able to pass a budget right now. Thankfully, the Marine Corps has passed a clean audit for 2 years in a row, and I applaud them. But that needs to go across the entire department. So that will be a focus. Where we spend dollars, we need to know, or when we spend dollars, we need to know where they're going and why. That's simple accounting, and that has not existed at the Defense Department. We're going to fix that. But that's not even Doge. I mean, we welcome Elon Musk and Doge coming into our department to help us identify additional ways in which we can streamline processes, fast-track acquisitions, cut waste, cut tail to put it to tooth. We know in a world where America's, $37 trillion in debt, resources will not be unlimited. So every dollar we can find that isn't being spent wisely is one we can put toward warfighters. So we welcome Doge at DOD. We will partner with them, and it's long overdue. The Defense Department's got a huge budget, but it needs to be responsible.
Yeah, it needs to be responsible. We need to make sure that we're responsible. Our budget's got to be responsible. We can't be wasting money on stupid stuff. We can't be wasting money on stupid stuff like Peruvian transgender comic books or Sesame Street for Iraqi children. We can't be spending $90,000 on a bag of bolts when it only costs $100. We can't be buying pennies anymore. We can't be spending money on pennies anymore. You know how much a penny costs? A penny, I learned this yesterday, a penny costs 2 pennies. Costs 2 cents to make a cent. That makes no sense. Donald Trump yesterday on his way back from the Super Bowl. This is what I love about Donald Trump. Donald Trump woke up in the morning. He was at Mar-a-Lago. He went out, he played golf with Tiger Woods. Because if you're going to play golf with someone, you might as well play with Tiger Woods. Then he went home. I imagine he showered, maybe had some lunch, got on the plane, flew to New Orleans, went to the Super Bowl, greeted people, met people, got cheered when they showed him on the Jumbotron, all that great stuff. Then afterward, Donald Trump was like, all right, I got to get back to Washington, D.C. So we went back to the airport, got on the plane. And while he was on the plane, he decided, I'm getting rid of pennies. And he did. And he goes, for far too long, the United States has minted pennies, which literally cost us more than 2 cents. This is so wasteful. I have instructed my Secretary of the U.S. Treasury to stop producing new pennies. Let's rip the waste out of our great nation's budget, even if it's a penny at a time. I'm telling you. I mean, this is a no-brainer. This should have been done years ago. We have been wasting money on pennies for years. A penny costs more than 2 cents to prepare? More than 2 cents to mint a penny? Why on earth would you spend 2 cents to make 1 cent? It makes no sense. And now, thanks to Donald Trump's executive order, we are making no sense. At least no pennies. I say get rid of the nickels and the dimes and the quarters too. I don't understand why we have change at all. Round everything up or down or both. If you round everything up, round everything down, then you should be fine. If we had a consumption tax, the way Neil Bortz would talk about, or a fair tax, or any other kind of tax than the one that we currently have, you wouldn't need pennies. You wouldn't need any coins. You could just pay an even number for everything. The tax would be included. It'd be fantastic. Donald Trump finally is I dare anybody to argue with Donald Trump ceasing the minting of pennies. If anybody, because when you boil this issue down, when you look at government waste, okay, Donald Trump says we're getting rid of government waste. Elon Musk says we're going to make the government more efficient. You go to the Treasury Department and you say, okay, what do we do here? Well, we make money. Okay, good. What kind of money do you make? Well, we make dollar bills. Okay. We make $100 bills. Those are good. What else do you make? We make pennies. Okay, great. What's a penny worth? Oh, it's worth about a penny. Okay. And how much does it cost to make a penny? Oh, it costs us more than 2 pennies. I mean, number one, right there. Think about how many pennies we're going to save not making pennies. If anybody disagrees with this, they are on the wrong side, not just of history, but of common sense. I got a million of these, by the way. These puns are going to be, these puns are going to be forever. But it makes no sense. This is clearly not commonsensical at all. And there can't be, if anybody argues with Donald Trump getting rid of the penny, then they are clearly either corrupt. They're part of Big Penny. They're part of some kind of massive Big Penny operation that's making money off of these, some kind of special interest that's all about, I don't know, maybe Abraham Lincoln's, family. Maybe the Abe Lincoln estate has a huge national interest or a huge personal interest in pennies continuing to be minted even at a loss to the taxpayer. I don't know. CNN did a report. I don't think even CNN was arguing with the fact that Donald Trump was going to save us money by not making any more money in the form of pennies.
Really, the latest in what we've seen has been a rapid fire effort by the Trump administration to try and find areas to cut funding, to cut money. And this is one that the president now says he argues is one that he wants to target. Now, this was not, I want to note, not something that the president talked about throughout his time on the campaign trail. But we do know that Elon Musk, who's running, the Department of Government Efficiency, they had actually brought this up last month in a post on X highlighting the cost to produce pennies. So all of this kind of tied to that broader effort of them trying to find waste, abuse, and fraud in the government. And now the president is saying this is one area that he wants to move forward with. John?
Right. Elena Trine, I did not know that pennies cost more than 3 cents to make, but likewise.
Look at that. CNN's didn't even know. Of course not, because they don't ever actually do any investigative journalism. But he's like, yeah, if it costs more than 3 cents to make a penny, there's no arguing with that. There's no arguing with that. And she brought up another great point. She said, this is the kind of whirlwind pace. Donald Trump works at a whirlwind pace. He never stops. He never takes a day off. You don't know when he's going to do something. He's on the plane. He's flying back from the Super Bowl. You think maybe he'll take a nap or kick back or, talk to his kids, whatever. He's getting rid of pennies. He's on the plane back. He goes to the Super Bowl. He cheers on the Chiefs. They lose in, glorious fashion. He gets back on the plane and goes, what's next? Let's get rid of pennies. And he does. And Caitlin Collins was on, was it Seth Meyers' show? I don't know. It's one of those shows that nobody watches, but I see clips from all the time. And she was talking about how Donald Trump is tough to keep up with. The media, the press, they don't even have time to eat.
So you're doing this every day. You're in D.C.
Yes.
The pace of the Trump administration seems to be moving pretty quickly. How are you holding up?
It is insane. And I think everyone is kind of like readjusting and re-remembering what it was like 4 years ago, 4 years ago. I remember when Biden first took office in January, the New York Times wrote the story about how quiet the weekends were, because for reporters, every weekend had just been like it was like a 7-day work week. And now we're back to that, basically, where it's just essentially nonstop every day. You kind of wake up like not knowing what you're going to be doing, what the schedule is. I was walking to get breakfast one day this week. I was like, okay, I'm going to have a nice little breakfast before I go to work. And halfway there, they're like, Trump's doing a press conference in an hour. And I physically ran back home so I could change and get ready.
Look, by the way, you don't have to say re-remember. You can just say remember. Re-remember. It's just remember. It's not re-remember. You're just remembering the one time. But she brings up an interesting point that Donald Trump's working 7 hours a day, and so does the media then. They had so many long weekends during the last 4 years. They had so many long weekends. They don't even remember what it's like to follow and to cover a president that works round the clock for the United States of America and for the people. And she had to skip breakfast, and she had to run back to her apartment and then run to the White House for a press conference. I imagine there's going to be a lot of media people getting into really good shape. This is really going to, by the next 4 years, you're going to have a media that is probably in the best shape of their lives. They're going to be fit. They're going to be slender. They're going to be cutting out meals. They're going to be, They're going to be skipping lunches. They're going to have to be. You're going to need stamina if you're going to be in the media for the next 4 years. And I think that that's something that they should really be thankful to Donald Trump for. Thank you, Donald Trump. You want to talk about making America healthy again? Let's start with the White House press corps. And apparently that's exactly what's happening. But it is nonstop. And it's not just Donald Trump, it's his entire staff. They're always on television. I don't know if you've noticed this, but Caroline Leavitt is on television probably more than any person I've ever seen. Stephen Miller is on television, almost as much as Caroline Leavitt, if not more. I've seen Pete Hegseth. I've seen Kristi Noem. I've seen Mike Waltz. Everybody involved in this whole, because they're letting you know exactly what they're doing when they're doing it. And that is one of the other reasons why Donald Trump seems so effective. Donald Trump, in fact, I think today he's doing another live press, He's doing another live signing of executive orders. Let me check that real quick. I'm going to go to, here we go. I'm going to go to, let's see, live. Oh, wait, I got to go to the YouTube. Apparently they've scheduled another in-house or in-office session where Donald Trump is going to sign more executive orders, and he's going to do it in front of the press corps, and he's going to take questions, and he's going to show everybody, and he's going to have that guy that stands there and announces, what is this one? Oh, this one's going to be this one. Okay, great. What is this one? Oh, yeah, that one's going to be, okay, good. Yeah, it's scheduled for 1 o'clock. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if that's going to happen live or not. But that's exactly what Donald Trump does. That's why so many people think he's doing what he said he would do, because he's letting people know that. And his staff, no one's hiding. They have social media constantly churning out videos and updates and posts about where Donald Trump is and what he's doing. Sean Duffy, who is the transportation secretary, that guy has already been on television more than Pete Buttigieg ever was in the 4 years that he was transportation secretary. Sean Duffy, his very first day on the job, you may remember, he had to go to D.C., had to go handle that tragic airline crash where the Black Hawk helicopter flew into the passenger jet. Everybody crashed in the Potomac and died. That was number one. The next day, guess what? There were 2 days later, there was another plane crash in Philadelphia, which, they've got to go figure that one out now, too. Not to mention, there's still issues with the leftovers from the Biden administration that they never dealt with. And he's in North Carolina. He went to North Carolina over the weekend. This guy never rests. He's in North Carolina, and he's surveying the damage to Interstate 40, I-40, which runs, in case you don't know, from Wilmington, North Carolina, all the way across the country to California. And I-40 is one of the major thoroughfares in the country, not just in North Carolina, but in the country. And it's been washed away since last year, since last September, October, whenever this thing happened. And Sean Duffy's there saying, we got to fix it.
So you see I-40 here behind me. This is the eastbound lane. It is completely washed away for much of the section between North Carolina and Tennessee. And so our role as the Department of Transportation is to provide money and expertise to the two departments in, again, North Carolina and Tennessee to rebuild this important stretch, this important artery that connects people and commerce, not just between the states, but across the country. And so we're out here looking at the damage and assessing how much money it's going to cost to do this rebuild. And by the way, it is going to be billions of dollars to rebuild just this stretch of the highway. Also, it's going to, as you see, it's been washed out through here. It's going to take rock to fill this back in and build the roadway back up. Well, we can get rock 30, 40 miles away. It's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money, but the Forest Service can partner with us, and we think they're really close, just about 1.5 miles over this mountain. We can get access to rock that'll drive down the cost and the time frame for which it'll take to rebuild this road. So again, we're out here assessing and looking at how we can partner with local officials to rebuild quickly. And Donald Trump, he doesn't move at the speed of prior administrations. He moves lightning quick. So we want to go fast, we want to go cheap, and we want to go safe.
And that's exactly what they're going to get. They're going to get Donald Trump and his administration and everyone that he puts in charge to go out there and do the job that needs to be done. They're going to do it fast. They're going to do it inexpensive. They're going to do it safely. They're not going to do it at the speed of the last administration. Joe Biden, I-40 is necessary to interstate commerce. Joe Biden, the very first day that it got washed away, should have had people on the ground figuring out how to reconstruct it. He didn't. It's been months now. And that's one of the big problems. That's one of the reasons why Donald Trump is winning in these small towns. That's why one of the reasons why Donald Trump is winning in these rural areas. Because the small town people were ignored by Joe Biden. Why? Because he was way too occupied. He was way too concerned about DE&I projects. He was way too concerned about the inner cities. He was way too concerned about making sure that men could swim against women and not get ridiculed. He was way too, was trying to make sure that we had enough pregnant flight suits for the pregnant women that were flying planes in the middle, all that kind of stuff. And the regular folk, the Americans, were left behind.
I come from small town America, and I think when you live in small town America, like many of the communities here in Western North Carolina, they feel forgotten. They feel like their federal government doesn't care. Their state governments haven't cared about them. And I think with this administration, they understand that they might be from a small town. They might not be the richest people, but you know what? We have not forgotten about them because they're Americans and they deserve our help and our aid. And we're going to provide it to them, whether it was Christy Nome with FEMA or us with DOT. Donald Trump came here one of his first trips. We're going to make sure that every American is treated fairly and equitably as we look at the disasters that have happened around the country, but specifically right here in Tennessee and North Carolina.
Yeah, let's talk about FEMA for just a hot minute. There was a report over the weekend which I think really made everybody's blood boil when it comes to FEMA. And this is one of the reasons why Donald Trump is looking to get rid of FEMA. We should all be looking to get rid of FEMA. Matt Van Swol, breaking, Elon Musk confirms the Doge team uncovered that FEMA sent $59 million last week. $59 million just last week to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal immigrants. Oh my gosh. 60 million dollars last week alone to house illegal immigrants in New York City hotels. This is not for a shelter. This is not to convert a parking garage into some kind of sustainable living facility. No, these are for hotels. We know the Roosevelt Hotel, the historic, iconic luxury Roosevelt Hotel in New York has been purchased by the Biden administration basically for years. They've been using your tax dollars to house illegals there. 59 million last week. That's going to stop immediately. That is going to stop. Doge is going to root that out. That's exactly what Elon Musk was put in place to do. That's exactly what Elon Musk is going to continue to do. And everybody else in the Trump administration is going to do exactly what they were hired to do. And nobody's going to stop them. Pam Bondi at the Attorney General's office, she's going to get rid of everybody in that department, in the DOJ, who was weaponized, who willingly fought against Donald Trump and tried to incarcerate him. She's going to get out the leakers. Leaks are coming out of the Department of Justice about ICE raids. There are people in the FBI, there are people in the DOJ who are leaking out information about where potential ICE raids would be so that these illegal immigrants can hide from federal officials who are trying to, execute the law. They're trying to enforce the laws and get rid of these folks who are here illegally and, BT dubs, sorry, Keith, committing horrible, heinous crimes.
If you leaked it, we will find out who you are and we will come after you. And it's not going to stop our mission. It's not going to stop the president's mission to make America safe again.
Yeah.
Now, she even said obstruction charges could be on the table. The AG and FBI agents across the country on edge, those FBI agents for the past week and a half after the deputy acting attorney general ordered those FBI agents and support staff involved in January 6 investigations to fill out a questionnaire. More than 4,000 agents and support staff filled out the questionnaire. Leaders here at the Justice Department have been going through that list. The president was asked directly on Friday about firing FBI agents involved in those January 6 probes. Watch.
I'll fire some of them because some of them were corrupt. Those people are gone or they will be gone, and it'll be done quickly and very surgically.
Leaders with the FBI Agents Association, representing more than 14,000 agents nationwide, are staying out in front of this.
FBI agents do not choose the cases they investigate. They are assigned to cases by their superiors. They follow the evidence, enforce the law, and do their jobs with integrity.
Last week, lawyers from the Agents Association and the Department of Justice agreed no names would be released right now and things stay status quo.
Okay. But eventually what's going to happen is you're going to get those people weeded out. Now, in the midst of all this, Donald Trump, again, working at a whirlwind pace, and the left and the media, they're having trouble keeping up. They are starting to get there. They're starting to catch up, but it's almost a little bit too late. Kristi Noem was interviewed yesterday by CNN about the prisoners going to Guantanamo Bay, and what's her name is saying, well, how many people are there, and what do they do, and why are they going there, and why are you being so mean?
So there are several planes that have transported individuals to the base, and they are in the system and the facilities that, a lot of our worst terrorist criminals have been incarcerated for many years. These individuals are the worst of the worst that we pulled off of our streets.
Who are they?
Murderers, rapists. So when I was there, I was able to watch one of the flights landing and them unload about 15 different of these criminals. Those were mainly child pedophiles, those that were out there trafficking children, trafficking drugs, and were pulled off of our streets and put at this facility. So I'm very thankful that they are off the streets of the United States and that we have safer communities.
And how long
today.
will they be there? Are they going to be?
They'll be there until we work with arrangements to take them back to their countries where they belong and have consequences dealt with them there. So they will be treated much like many other individuals in this country that are those dangerous criminals that don't belong here.
Okay, so the United States of America under Donald Trump and under Tom Homan and under Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, they're rounding up illegal immigrants and they're sending them home. And if they can't send them home, they're sending them to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. They're getting them off of our streets where they could harm our citizens. And of course, by removing dangerous illegal criminals from the United States to a place like Cuba, you can imagine the left is just furious. They're up in arms. How dare you remove dangerous criminals, pedophiles, drug dealers, murderers? How dare you take these people who shouldn't even be here in the first place because they're illegal? How dare you take them off our streets and send them to Gitmo? We're going to go to court and we are going to stop you. And in fact, that's exactly what happened. A Fox News report, federal judge halts Trump administration's plan to transfer detained Venezuelan migrants to Guantanamo Bay. A New Mexico judge has ordered that Donald Trump cease and desist the transfer of 3 illegal criminals from New Mexico to Venezuela. These are illegals who I guess Tom Homan rounded up and ICE agents rounded up because they were part of the horrible Tren de Aragua. But now they're denying. No, we're not members of Tren de Aragua. We don't even know what that is. So the judge has ordered that they remain in the United States instead of going to Gitmo. J.D. Vance tweeted out, if a judge tried to tell a general how to conduct a military operation, that would be illegal. If a judge tried to command the attorney general on how to use her discretion as a prosecutor, that's also illegal. Judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power. That is true. By the way, it's an Obama-appointed judge. Not at all shocking. An Obama-appointed judge was also the one who stopped the Treasury Department investigations by DOJ. An Obama judge is, I believe, one of the ones who's tried. There's a news story coming out right now, I haven't even read it yet, about them wanting Donald Trump to unfreeze funds that he froze. They're trying to use every left-wing lunatic Obama-appointed judge they can find in any blue state or sanctuary state that they can muster up. They're making a list. And checking it twice. They're making a list of every single judge that they have in their back pockets who doesn't really care about the Constitution or overstepping their political power. And they are going to use those judges to try and stop Donald Trump in his tracks from protecting the American people, from keeping the American people safe, and from doing exactly what it was that Donald Trump was ordered to do by the American voters. And that is make America safe again. And it's really, really crazy. On a lighter note, Donald Trump did something that nobody really seems to be really upset with. In fact, I was shocked. I thought for sure there'd be a legal battle over the Gulf of America, but there wasn't. And yesterday, Donald Trump, for the very first time, flew over the Gulf of America on his way to the Super Bowl. And while he was flying over, he celebrated by announcing that yesterday, February 9th, would be known as Gulf of America Day.
We're flying right over it right now. So we thought this would be appropriate. Even bigger than the Super Bowl. This is a big thing. And almost everybody now has assented to that.
Attention on board. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention out the right side of the aircraft. Air Force One is currently in international waters, for the first time in history, flying over the recently renamed Gulf of America. Please enjoy the flight, and we are now about to head westbound to Super Bowl 59.
Wow, yeah. He did that well. Make America great again, right? That's what we care about. Okay, here we go.
And then he signs the order, and all of a sudden we've got Gulf of America Day, which, by the way, I think it's a national holiday now, or it's like an annual event. So if you would like to get prepared for the next Gulf of America Day, which is next February, by all means, you should swing by the Mark Kaye shop, because the Gulf of America is here to stay. And every single day, it's making waves. Pun totally intended. Every single day, some new occurrence is happening. Donald Trump, whether it's a proclamation declaring that the Gulf of Mexico is now the Gulf of America, whether it's a proclamation declaring, hey, it's Gulf of America Day, or whether it's Donald Trump historically flying over the Gulf of America for the first time, you want to celebrate, and you want to do so in style with your official Gulf of America gear. There's t-shirts in various different fashion colors. There's dark mode t-shirts. There's light mode t-shirts. There's sweatshirts, and there's mugs. We've got everything Gulf of America you could possibly want. If you want a hoodie, if you want a white hoodie, a red, white, and blue hoodie that says Gulf of America, have at it. All you have to do is go to markkshop.com and pick out whatever you like. If you use coupon code TrumpWorld, you get 15% off. But the savings doesn't end there. If you're a member of our brand new Patriot Club and you join us for our after parties every single day, which are going to happen here in just a few minutes, by the way, then you can get a 25% off for life coupon code, which means that as long as you're a member of the Patriot Club, you get 25% off your entire order. And that is anything. If you load up on Gulf of America stuff, Donald Trump portrait merchandise, if you want Patriot garb, if you want a Patriot tank top because you want to go to the gym and show off your guns and your patriotism, no problem. We've got them for men and women. We've also got the t-shirts, and all you have to do is go there, load up, use coupon code TrumpWorld, or if you're a member of the Patriot Club, use that secret code for 25% off, and we'll get that out right to you. markkshop.com is where you need to go. markkshop.com. That's where all your Patriot gear will be. As far as the Patriot Club, look, like I said, Donald Trump is on a nonstop mission. And as far as I know, he's going to be doing more press conferences. He's going to be signing more executive orders. He's going to be making more massive changes to everything. DOJ is not going to slow down. Sure, they're going to try to stop him in the courts. They won't. It'll be a little bit of a hassle. It'll be a headache. They're going to slow down everything. But at the end of the day, DOJ will be successful. Donald Trump will be successful. And we will have a more efficiently run government. We will have a government that not only runs efficiently, but is using money for things that are more beneficial to the majority of Americans. Things that you can actually use, that will make you safer, that will make you stronger, that will make you richer, that will make this country greater. And it all starts with cutting out the waste. It all starts with canceling the pennies. It all starts with making sure that the Department of Education isn't just a big waste of everyone's time. If we're spending more than 40 other countries on every student, but they're coming out with worse grades, that's an inefficiently run system. And Donald Trump and Elon Musk are going to make sure that we put an end to all of that. So that's something exciting to watch. We'll be watching for the executive orders. They may pop up at any time. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, set those notifications, because Mark Kaye Saves the Republic comes at you every single day. Live from right here in Mar-a-Lago at Patriot HQ in sunny Jacksonville, Florida, we will be broadcasting every single day of the Donald Trump administration, because you need to know who's taking advantage of you. You need to know who's lying to you. You need to know who's stealing your money. You need to know who's on your side and who's not on your side. Most importantly, you need to know what you can do about it. And every single day, we will bring you the news, the information, the insight. We'll create an enemies list if we have to. That's not a bad idea, actually. It worked for Kash Patel. Oh, by the way, it appears that this week we're going to get some movement on some of these Trump nominees. It appears that this week we're going to get some movement. Apparently now today they are advancing Tulsi Gabbard's nomination to the floor. Now, there's a 30-hour, I know, it's ridiculous. There's a 30-hour window for debate, which would then close sometime tomorrow, which means on Wednesday, they will vote to confirm Tulsi Gabbard for the Director of National Intelligence. And supposedly, according to everybody that I've spoken with, she does have the votes to pass. RFK Jr. and Kash Patel supposedly will follow later this week, but it is a slow, excruciatingly painful process. And John Thune is not, I believe, living up to his end of the bargain, which was to keep the Senate open round the clock until all of these things got done. He's letting everybody off the hook. And I don't think that that's something that's appropriate. He should either move these things faster or recess the Senate so Donald Trump can make his recess appointments. Either way, it's been way too long. We're going into a month. We're almost a month into President Donald Trump's second administration here, and we don't even have a DNI. We don't have a Secretary of Health and Human Services, and we don't have anybody that we want in charge of the FBI. Those are the ones, by the way, that they're most afraid of. Those are the ones that the Democrats are most afraid of because, A, the FBI has been their protector, hasn't been investigating their crimes, has been protecting their crimes, and protecting them from facing any kind of fury from the Department of Justice for their crimes. The Health and Human Services, I mean, forget about how much money these people made during COVID and after with all the booster shots and the Pfizer deals and everything else. Forget about the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security. Look at what's going on with the DNI and Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, I'm a little shocked that they're advancing this one forward, but it looks like it's all going to happen slower than we wanted, but eventually the Democrats have run out of tactics. They've run out of tricks, and they're not going to be able to do anything else. They're just going to have to sit back, relax, and let Donald Trump get his cabinet. And then, you think it's bad now. Just you wait. Just you wait. In the meantime, look, like I said, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're downloading these every single day. Make sure you set your notifications, because we are going to bring you this information every single day, videos constantly, updates galore, and we want to make sure that you're fully equipped and armed and ready to fight so that you can save the Republic. All right. We're going to start the after party here in just a minute. The after party, we're going to go about, 30, 40 more minutes, depending on what it is. We'll chit chat a little bit. We'll talk about some more stories. We'll share some more info. If you would like to be a guest at the after party, if you'd like to be invited, fun fact, all you have to do is support the show, and you go to Katriots.com, join our locals. It's for supporters only, but you can join our locals channel at locals.com, and you can be part of the after party, which begins in 3 minutes.